There was a man in the Mughal period who was hated by the Mughals but loved by the people of our land. When the current government was taking away all the Mughal names of the cities, they named a city after this man. What did he do so great that a government which was getting rid of all the Mughal names felt the necessity to name a city after this man? And how did this man face a terrible ending just because he preferred the well-being of people over religion? Do watch till the end to get a complete understanding of the story. Dara Shukoh, a forgotten chapter in the Mughals' history. He was the first son of Shah Jahan and the eldest brother of Aurangzeb. He was just 7 years old when Prince Khurram, that is Shah Jahan, rebelled against the emperor, his father Jahangir. But Shah Jahan was not the first son. He had 2 elder brothers. Eventually, he could not succeed in that rebellion. And 4 years later, the defeated Prince Shah Jahan was welcomed back into the royal family and was forgiven for his mistakes. Anyway, he was someone who rebelled against the king. So Jahangir was not ready to completely trust him. So he took away his own grandchildren, the children of Shah Jahan, as hostages at the palace. So for almost 5 years, Dara Shukoh grew up in a very restricted environment, and he met his father only at the age of 13 when Shah Jahan was finally crowned as the emperor. Among all the sons of Shah Jahan, Dara Shukoh was his father's favorite. He was trying to be the future emperor since his childhood. While all his brothers were sent to distant provinces as administrators, Dara Shukoh was kept within the palace, so he had time to concentrate on spirituality. Dara Shukoh was someone who realized the truth of what we call as the ultimate is not entitled to any particular religion but can be found in all religions. He not only read the literatures of Islam but also of other religions, and he also conversed with learned men of those religions to get a deeper understanding. A text called Dara Shukoh wa Baba Lal captures a spiritual conversation between Dara Shukoh and Baba Lal, a Hindu mystic from Punjab who later recognized as Lal Dayal. This conversation clearly portrays the curiosity of Dara Shukoh about the various aspects of Hinduism, and later he referred to Baba Lal as one of the perfect man. By the age of 44, he wrote a book called Majma-ul-Bahrain, which means mingling of 2 oceans. In this 57-page document, he analytically compares the aspects of Hinduism and Islam and points out the huge similarities in their basic values. But he was highly criticized and hated by the Mughal scholars of the court because of these liberal qualities. But he did not care about that. He also translated 50 chapters of Upanishads from Sanskritam to Persian in a book called Sir-e-Akbar. He finished this book in 1657. In the same year, his father Shah Jahan was struck with severe illness. At that time, the other 3 brothers were in different regions as governors. When they came to know about this, they suspected that their father had really died, and the news had been suppressed by their elder brother Dara Shukoh in order to capture the empire. Suja, the second son of Shah Jahan, announced himself as emperor and marched towards the empire. But on arriving near Banaras, he was defeated by an army sent against him under the leadership of Dara Shukoh's son Suleiman Shukoh. Murad, the youngest son, and Aurangzeb, the third son, entered into an agreement to partition the empire, and that agreement was made in the name of God and the Prophet. The terms of the agreement were 1/3 of the booty would belong to Murad and 2/3 to Aurangzeb. After the conquest of the empire, the Punjab, Afghanistan, Kashmir and Sindh would belong to Murad, and he would establish a standard kingship there. Now the combined armies of Aurangzeb and Murad marched towards north and reached a place called Dharmat, which was 14 miles southwest of Ujjain. Dara Shukoh sent an army under Raja Jaswant Singh of Jodhpur and Qasim Khan to stop the enemies, but they got badly defeated by the army of Aurangzeb and Murad. The king of Jodhpur, Jaswant Singh, ran away from the battlefield. When he reached his castle, his proud wife shut the gates of the castle and refused to allow him inside because he went there running away from the battlefield, and that's not at all acceptable in the Hindu community. Now the army of Aurangzeb and Murad started marching towards Agra. Dara Shukoh was also ready with 50,000 soldiers. Both the armies met at a place called Samugar, which was 8 miles to the east of Agra Fort. The battle was vigorous, and both the armies fought so intensely. But unfortunately, Dara Shukoh's elephant got severely wounded by an arrow. So he got down from the elephant and mounted a horse, and this one action decided the fate of this battle. Seeing their master's elephant empty, the soldiers thought something bad had happened to Dara Shukoh. So there were a lot of distress in the army and the soldiers slowly started giving up. Now the defeat was inevitable, so Dara Shukoh, leaving his army, fled towards Agra. When he reached there, he was in an unspeakably wretched condition. Dara Shukoh was defeated merely because of few tactical mistakes, and the price he had to pay for that was something he would have never imagined. Obviously, the next logical thing for Aurangzeb was to capture the throne of Hindustan. So he marched towards Agra and captured the fort. Then Shah Jahan and his daughter Jahanara both were imprisoned by Aurangzeb. Now Aurangzeb imprisoned Murad, breaking the agreement that was made in the name of God and Prophet Muhammad. Later, Murad was also killed and Aurangzeb became the sole emperor of Hindustan. Dara Shukoh and his son Suleiman Shukoh were deserted by his generals and soldiers because they thought there was no gain in following the losing side any longer. Finally, Suleiman Shukoh, with his wife and few other ladies and only with 7 followers, found refuge with a Hindu king who took care of them with all kindness. But due to the pressure given by Aurangzeb, the son of the Hindu king betrayed them and Suleiman was arrested and brought in chains before Aurangzeb. There was something called pausta drink, which is kind of slow poisoning. Suleiman told Aurangzeb that he would prefer immediate deaths to slow poisoning. Aurangzeb also promised that the pausta drink will not be given to him, but the promise was not kept and the deadly drink was given to Suleiman forcefully every morning for 2 years until he died. In the meantime, Dara Shukoh was in Lahore preparing the army to encounter Aurangzeb. Since it was raining, he thought it would take some time for Aurangzeb to reach there. But within a month, the army of Aurangzeb reached Lahore. Now Dara Shukoh was totally unprepared, ran away with his family to Multan. But from place to place, he was chased by the officers of Aurangzeb. Finally, he got a place to hide in Gujarat and started preparing the army. In 1659, a battle happened between Dara Shukoh and Aurangzeb, in which Dara Shukoh badly got defeated. Again, he started running from place to place but could not find any asylum. Finally, he found shelter with Jivan Khan. Few years back, Jivan Khan was saved from the death sentence that was given by his father Shah Jahan. But again, the fate of Dara Shukoh was very unfortunate. His lovable wife Nadira Begum, who had been his devoted companion in the days of wanderings, got really sick because of diarrhea. Mountain after mountain of trouble, he got tired. He mentally didn't have the courage to take it anymore. And to add fuel to the fire, Jivan Khan, with whom Dara Shukoh was staying, betrayed him. Dara Shukoh and his family were brought to Delhi and they were paraded throughout the city. To complete his humiliation, Dara Shukoh was seated on the back of a small female elephant which was covered with dirt. He felt so humiliated he didn't even raise his head. He was just sitting there completely broken. His unfortunate situation evoked sympathy in the hearts of the people. Bornia, an eyewitness of the scene, says, "The crowd assembled was immense and everywhere I observed the people weeping, lamenting the fate of Dara in a most touching language. From every quarter, I heard piercing and distressing shrieks, men, women and children wailing as if some mighty calamity had happened to themselves. But not a single hand raised to rescue Dara Shukoh as he was surrounded by the soldiers. But people rioted against the traitor Jivan Khan. But unfortunately, this riot made the issue even more complicated. His case was placed before the doctors of Muslim law, who condemned him on a charge of deviation from the Islamic faith. And the night of 30th August, Dara Shukoh was beheaded, and by the orders of Aurangzeb, his body was paraded throughout the city to let the people know that their favorite was no more. Thus, the life of the most liberal and kind man of Mughal dynasty came to an end. And I'm really glad that the government decided to rename the Dalhousie Road, which is located near the Rashtrapati Bhavan, as Dara Shukoh Road. These kind of personalities who favored the well-being of people over their religion should not be forgotten in the chapters of our history.